Hello everybody and happy National Employee Appreciation Day. For those of you with jobs, you can probably relate to having bizarre customer interactions at work. The truth is, I've had quite a few jobs in quite a few departments, and I'd like to share a couple stories about the experiences that I've had. Back when I lived in California, my first job was at a library, shelving books and sanitizing. It should be noted for this upcoming story that my friend since middle school, let's call him Carson, he worked there too. One day, Carson and I were on the second floor of the library reshelving. When we were done, we had to take the book carts back downstairs via the elevator, since, carrying them down the stairs would be impossible. It should be noted that this was in 2020-ish, so due to a certain worldwide event, two people could only ride in the elevator together at the same time if they both consented to the idea beforehand. There was even a big sign next to the elevator saying this. Carson and I both agreed that this would save some headache, so we both went into the elevator together. As the doors were closing, an old lady sprinted up and stopped the elevator from closing all the way so that she could get in. I didn't see any harm in overlooking the breaking of the whole elevator consent rule, because maybe she just didn't know about it, So the elevator starts going down, and the old lady looks at me and cackles. She says,
Hee hee hee. You look like you came straight out of Israel.
My response was, huh? After an awkward rest of the elevator ride down, my friend Carson speeds out of the elevator with the cart, probably because he was uncomfortable or something. I tried to leave too, but the old woman stops me with a side of her hand and looks at me. She said,
In February.
She said it 3 separate times.
There will be a flood in New York. You must take the planes. They will take you to the Middle East. You will be safe there.
I was like, okay, and I left. It was certainly weird, but being prophesied to in an elevator at least makes a funny story, or at least I think so. Some other memorable experiences, although not as funny to me personally, came from the call center that I worked at. The company would have phones that would ring people from an area for us, and we were to pick up the phones and gather survey opinions from them. Other than the usual threats and bots I was usually paired up with, 2 calls stood out to me. They both started with the usual, hi, this is so-and-so calling from such and such call center to gather whatever and so on, that I was required to say, whatever. After saying this for the first call, I heard a boy on the other end who couldn't have been more than 12 years old say,
That's cool, but do you know Candace?
At the time I already knew the punchline to the joke and hung up. The second person I was on a call with waited for the end of the entirety of my boring verbatim speech just to say with the evilest, raspiest voice I've ever heard, It's past my bedtime. You woke me up! And then hang up. I still get chills just thinking about it. With all that being said, I didn't even last 2 weeks at that call center. Another story of mine takes place at a summer camp where I lived and worked as a custodian. I didn't mind working there at all, but living there was another story. They gave me and another guy this small dingy cabin shed thingy to share. I fell asleep to white noise, so I didn't initially notice this, but there was a mouse in our cabin that kept my roommate awake every night. He later told me that the squeaking was so frequent that he couldn't sleep for days at a time. The morning I found out about the mouse was the morning I was awoken by a loud thumping sound. I opened the door that led to my roommate's side of the cabin to see him chucking the recently stomped mouse outside. He looked straight at me and said, I finally got that little f***er. That wasn't the end of our infestation issues at the summer camp, however, because the employee shower room was full of spiders. And when I say there were spiders, I mean that the floor was practically a carpet made out of spiders. The staff did nothing about it. I tried showering there once, thinking I would be able to endure it because I'm more fond of spiders than others. But boy, was I wrong. Turns out that whether or not you like spiders, it's a different story when they're constantly dropping onto your naked body from the ceiling while you scrub yourself. Who would have guessed? I went on to neglect showering for a month or two, which I tried to hide with as much deodorant as possible. If there's one thing I've learned about deodorant and showers from the experience, it's that you need both. Anyway, those are my stories. I hope you liked them, but more than that, I want to hear your workplace stories. Go ahead and comment them on this video. I will read all of them. And at long last, here is my full completion of the Geometry Dash level Job Application by Zoo13. Enjoy!
If it makes Andy angry, so be it.